Hi, welcome to Austin, Texas. Beautiful river right here, a bridge, skyline, can't get much better than that. So, why am I here? Well, dealerships get a bad rap. A lot of people go to them and then leave with a bad taste in their mouth. But Rivian seems to do things a bit differently. So I am here to check out the Rivian showroom or space in Austin, Texas. Fun fact, this trail goes kind of along this whole river near the city. You can kind of see the skyline most of the time. And this is the famous Congress Bridge where there's bats, very Austin things happening. And sometimes they even leave a Rivian parked out here because what connects to the trail is another trail which Rivian owns, which leads all the way to Rivian's space up ahead. And Rivian is one of those companies trying to rethink the dealership experience. Some dealerships look really nice and clean, but then it's like nothing special. It's just like a cookie cutter inspired by Apple stores. Polestar and Tesla sort of fall into that camp. But here Rivian is showing us a different take as to how things can be done. This is of course not the first time. This is like the 15th time they've done this. I've toured some Rivian spaces before, so I'm very excited to show you guys Austin. So unlike a dealer, there's kind of multiple ways you can access this space, including the trailhead I just showed you, which is hilarious to think of a trailhead being part of like a dealership experience. But that's how it looks coming right up from this way. You might find first the Rivian outdoor space down below. You'll be met with these kind of long leading stairs, a bunch of tables and chairs, some more sitting areas over there, lots of greenery, and probably some Rivian vehicles charging. This is where they facilitate tons of demo drives. In fact, this is like one of the leading sales places in the country for Rivian, so very, very important for the company itself. And that leads me to a point I want to bring up early rather than later. A lot of people have given some flack to Rivian for these spaces, interestingly enough. When I did the review of the Laguna Beach area, a lot of people were like, holy crap, how could they spend this money on this? They're in financial despair. Just a lot of negative Nancy's in the comments. I actually think this is kind of interesting and crucial and speaks really, really highly of the brand. Obviously, I do want them to succeed. I like having as many players in the space as possible. And having Rivian spaces like this, like Laguna, like New York, like a bunch of different unique areas around the country, I think is very special, makes it feel more special, and it's just a better experience than going to a dealer. It's impressive to hear that Rivian sells so many trucks and SUVs based out of this one location, despite having a very non-sales pushy attitude. But part of the allure is just something completely different. Part of the things that are different is this is on Congress Avenue, this road right here, goes down to some shopping down there. Basically, parking is really hard and expensive. Well, in here it's free. I mean, you have to be here for Rivian, but that is a huge appeal that just breaks down one of the barriers to entry of having parking that's really annoying. They even have 7 Rivian Adventure Network chargers. Let's take a look at those really quick. I'm actually plugged into one right now. Funny enough, I showed up in Austin the other night, really late, about 1 a.m. The rental car company was like, I'm so sorry, we only have EVs and big trucks. And everyone was so upset because all the other crossovers were sold out. I was like, hell yeah, give me an EV. And they gave me this Model Y that's been kind of beat up. But these are the Rivian Adventure Network Level 2 chargers. They are free, which is really cool. So that's 10 kilowatts level 2 charging for free. Now, obviously, if you have a big max pack, plugging into one of these, not gonna do a ton, but still gonna do something. And it still adds to the appeal of stopping and visiting here. There's even a spot over there. So I'm juicing along here at 10 kilowatts. I've only been plugged in for a little bit, already got 3 kilowatt hours. So that's gonna be a nice beefy charge on a small battery like this Model Y. But they have 7 of those, plus plenty of other parking, like I said, some outdoor seating. So this is where they do a lot of demo drives. In fact, today, like I said, very busy. It's a Saturday. They have dozens of drives scheduled and probably going to be facilitating them literally all day, open to close. They're even open on Sunday, which I didn't even realize was a thing as much because, well, you can't really sell cars on Sunday in Texas. But this is probably not exactly a dealership. See, my brother Austin, who was on this channel previously, who was working for Tesla in Texas, they also couldn't sell cars at all. And so they didn't have a dealership, they had a showroom. And that's kind of what this is. It's a showcase of what the Rivian brand is, letting people do demo drives, and then when it comes time to buy, well, you just order it online. By the way, there's a Fisker right here. That Fisker is, I think Rivian has a thing where if you have a Fisker, like they're kind of like Conquest trying to get you to trade it in to get something, well, clearly better and something that can have service appointments and things like that. So it's funny to see Fiskers out in the wild. I still really want to drive one. But after you get through this whole courtyard area, see cars charging, see people hanging out here, or maybe not because it's a hustling, bustling city and everyone seems to be running or getting coffee or something. You come to kind of the main lower door. There's, like I said, various entrances to this place. So we'll go inside the first floor and see what's in there. So walking in from the beautiful outside, you are met with a bunch of plants, which is clearly a theme in Rivian Spaces, which I love. You have this huge table, which has a lot of wheels, chairs. Basically, it's a nice kind of co-working space environment. They used to actually have the skateboard chassis here of the R1, which was really cool, I'm sure. I wish that was still here, but it's still cool to see this table here as like a workspace, which I guess they could move elsewhere. I mean, this whole place is meant to be fairly modular. They also have a lot of events here where they can move the stuff out of the way and bring people in. A huge thing they do here is events. The space can be used for all sorts of, well, a lot of activity events because it is Austin and I'm seeing 3 million trail runners this morning. A lot of yoga stuff, various activities inside. It's very easy to move the floor around and have both first, second, and rooftop space available for events that people can use the space for. In the future, they might even allow people to just rent it out for like a wedding or something, which would be really cool. In fact, supposedly one of the employees may be doing that as a beta test, which is really, really exciting and awesome. Then you have the sitting area with, you know, couch, books, nice little place to relax, and you see the big projector on the wall, and that's just showing Rivian in its elements. Below that is a couple motors. It's cool to see the internal components, such as the motors. There's a dual motor, of course, the current Enduro unit. And then there's also the quad motor, one of the quad motor axles, I think the rear, which is actually the old Bosch motor. So they don't have the new one here on display yet. That would be really cool. I'm sure it will come. In fact, they might even bring another newer skateboard here to show off, which would be nice. Another cohesive piece of Rivian Spaces is these little maps situations, which show basically where we are, Austin, on all of them, and then various trips you can take away from Austin, kind of as somewhat of an adventure, kind of showing you what the adventure would look like. This whole piece of education is a lot of what they do at these spaces, advising and educating people on how to do electric road trips, which is right up our alley. For example, going to White Sands, beautiful place, by the way, I've been there a few times. Only 2 charging stops, Ozona, Van Horn, and then there's White Sands. Tells you the miles, charging stops, what you would arrive with, so the fact that you wouldn't even arrive dead, which is nice to know. And it's showing it with the R1T quad motor, for example, but you could possibly see other ones and you could play with that on your own time if you want. Education is a huge piece of these spaces, just explaining how EVs work. That's why they have charging over there on this wall. They don't have any chargers in this building right now, but they've also sometimes have the Rivian Adventure Network DC fast charger stalls, just explaining to people how those work, how easy it is. Plug and charge is a great thing. Not the fastest handshake, but plug and charge is what's really important. They also have Rivian Waypoint chargers, like you see in the parking lot out there. Those are also out and about, and the truck knows where all of those things are in the map itself. So this is probably the entrance most people would stumble upon. Crossing, of course, the famous Congress Bridge, where I guess you could see bats at night. Facing the cool skyline of Austin, you can flip and see Rivian right here on the corner. Now, they don't actually lease the space, they're not borrowing it, they own it apparently, which is really cool. And so you can kind of see down here a bunch of Rivians, and this is the front fascia of the store. Right now, very Dune themed because of the recent, special edition that they're showing off. It's funny, you can't really see through the window super well, but it kind of alludes to something inside, which maybe that's intentional, to bring people in and see what's happening on the inside. a Dune vehicle sneaking through the window. Anyways, a little bit of landscaping out here, nothing too special, although I do want to point out something interesting. There's little juts of sandy looking rocks here, which I don't know if that's part of the Dune thing or not, but there's little juts into the landscaping. And then right here, there's two juts that kind of seem to be roughly wheel width. And behind this is a vehicle in the showroom. I theorize that's intentional, so that the vehicles can drive through without touching the landscaping. And then all this kind of looks to play into that. Kind of a funny Easter egg type thing. But they do have these sliding doors. Of course, that's how they get the vehicle in, but it's also something they leave open on nicer days. And they might even poke the nose of the vehicle out just to feel like it's trying to escape or lure you back in. But nice plants here, pottery, and then you head on inside. Okay, so first things first, you're actually met with a dog bowl. This of course highlights one of the magical things about Rivian being pet focused, pet friendly, and of course one of the few vehicles with dog mode. I don't know why it's so hard to put that in a car. There's a lot of cars that don't have dog mode, camp mode, keep climate mode, whatever you call it, but it is nice to see a lot of dog owners do want that. So I'm curious, if you don't want that, what's your reasoning? Let me know down below. Anyways, looking through this space, it is really freaking awesome. Very industrial vibes, which does really fit the vibe of the city, and just windows being everywhere makes this both bright and also captivating, because you can see the actual Austin skyline on this famous Congress Avenue where the shop is located. Okay, so the first thing you are met with as you walk in the main entrance on Congress Avenue is the R1S Dune Edition. This is absolutely the spec. I was excited to see the Dune unveiled actually in Denver. We saw it right at the moment it was unveiled. And it was an R1T, which was still really cool. Had the darker wheels, which we'll see over there in just a bit. But this is absolutely the spec I would pick. I love the light colored wheels. It feels very like rally to me, kind of like some of the white OZ wheels we've seen before. And just seeing the Dune color with the matching wheels on top of the sand. Whatever this situation is they did here, I don't know how they did it, but it's like actually real sand. It's not just like a carpet. And so whoever designed this element is absolutely killing it and maybe needs a raise. But yeah, just a quick tour of the R1S Dune, since we haven't really seen that before. The two-way seats, of course, and opening this up, oh, you can see it's very representative of what you might actually be seeing this as, because there is literally sand in it from people actually getting in using the truck. Love it. And you can see, of course, the Dune imagery on the screen there. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of this two-tone. Just Rivian interiors in general really do it for me. And yeah, that's the move right there. See, that's my ideal off-road camping situation. I love behind it on the wall, you can see keep the world adventurous forever, kind of reminiscent of the Austin phrasing, keep Austin weird. And then there's also the tri-motor all-wheel drive performance limited edition color, exclusive interior, unique wheels, dark badging, and sandy ready gear. That is, of course, what the Dune comes with, explained on the wall right behind the car, which is great. Of course, it includes, being the Dune Edition, the Max Tracks on top, of course, with the crossbars. So it's like a full, ready to go off-road spec. I mean, they're all relatively off-road ready to go, but this is properly set up for some deserteering. New word, I think. The Dune just continues behind the R1S all the way over here into this room, and it's so funny. So what used to be the case is that these three pipes sticking out of the sand were speakers playing the Dune track, which was actually a track that a composer made for Rivian, and there's even a projector that was on the wall showing Dune things. This is all part of a huge, cool display. Unfortunately, they're kind of in a transition phase, so I'm kind of like in between something. So what I see here is probably not what you would see if you come. In fact, I think all this might be taken down on Monday. I just wanted to get a video in here while I'm here, just to show what you might expect here in the Rivian showroom in Austin. Over behind the Dune, of course, some more plants in the corner, which just helps make it less boring looking. And random chairs here. And then, of course, a bunch of books. Of course, more things for the kids, which is nice to see. I actually wonder how much this stuff gets used, but books are a nice vibe. And you can see, oh, this is cool. Kind of an ethos of an R1T and an R1S. with actual rubber wheels. Okay, I actually kind of want these now. Candy Lab. This is sick. This actually looks more like the Scout Traveler, I think it is, and the Scout Terra, which is funny. But yeah, more stuff over here, more books, more off-road creative ethos things, pottery, very, very expected. And then a little spiel about what they believe in. To the left of the books is one of the many outdoor spaces. And you can come out here and just enjoy a nice little patio seating with a gorgeous view of the Austin skyline. I would actually consider sitting out here all day. In fact, I actually brought all my stuff to do some work while I'm here at Rivian, so I might do that. But yeah, just more plants, cacti, of course. It is 10 a.m. as I'm recording this, and it's March, it's the end of March, and I'm already too hot, which is why I left Texas. But I think a lot of people who live here are very used to the heat, and so the space probably still gets used. I would personally be inside in the AC, but they have a lot of outdoor space for all these outdoor-minded folks in Austin. Back inside, we actually have a merch area, of course, behind the Dune R1S, where they have merch. I mean, this is pretty normal for a lot of Rivian spaces, but they do also like to keep in mind the area they are and have special merch for that location. Since the early 2000s, the phrase, the motto, for lack of a better term, of Austin is "Keep Austin Weird." Well, they've taken into account that phrasing for the slogan they put on the merch here. Keep Austin adventurous forever. Super cool. Adventure, y'all, on this shirt. Keep all the world adventurous forever on this shirt. And yeah, the whole vibe is just very outdoorsy color schemes. Really actually digging some of these hoodies and things. That's kind of nice. So yeah, typical merch here. Very green and white, I guess. They don't really have any other colorways, whereas in Denver, I've seen a lot of other colors. And of course, that might be a seasonal thing, might be a current location thing, but having all this Dune stuff does seem to coincide with having the Dune thing here. So this might all be different once they do take this display down and switch it out with something else. Towels, you have drink thermoses, more books, more plants, various types of hats, and this part. We're actually right next door to Yeti here in Austin, and Rivian and Yeti have a partnership for this location to sell Yeti coolers and things branded with the Yeti and Rivian branding, co-branding, I guess. So if you're a Yeti fan and a Rivian fan, this is probably a good place to get both cravings satisfied at once. It feels so weird to be walking on sand inside. And you have kind of the vehicle design area, which is a lot of fun. They have Dune paraphernalia on the wall, but really cool photos of it being sliding around the desert. Of course, you have all the wheels here, all the different wheel options, which have grown extensively. I remember when it was like 4, and now there's, what is this, 7? I can't even count. You can see all the different variants, 20 inches, all terrains, all seasons, road tires. This is the Scorpion MS, spicier one, Sport Dark, Sport Bright, and of course the Dune. Now this is the all-terrain Dune that I saw on the R1T, which is a cool, nice, darker, metallic color, I guess, but I'm actually a big fan of the Dune color over there. On this table, of course, we're all familiar with this, the way Rivian presents their materials, the finishes, and some of the inspirations behind the different colorways, which is really special and fun. So it is fun to like mix and match these things. You can literally take Ocean Coast and Driftwood, probably my choice, and you can pull it over here to look at it next to a wheel, or you can pull it over here and look at it next to an exterior color and pick and choose. You have large color panels here, smaller color panels here. Notably, of course, no Compass Yellow anymore, which I say every time I visit a Rivian Space. Maybe they'll bring something like that back, even if just for a special edition color. That was, of course, my favorite colorway. And I'll just hold my breath. They know I want it back. We'll see. But behind all of this on this wall is something really, really cool. This is California Dune, highlighting an adventure from Joshua Tree Charging Outpost, which is something I'm really excited to see, hopefully in a couple months, and what it takes to get from there over here to Austin, Texas. And so they have kind of the route, rough planning, showing charging stops, 5 charging stops, 3 hours, 57 minutes of charging time. Coffees consumed, 14. That's a great metric. I'm gonna start using that on my road trip films. Songs played, that's a lot. Miles driven, 1,300 plus miles over 5 days. So definitely not one of those out of spec race road trips for sure. That sounds like their time was taken. And the total drive time, 19 hours. 3 smash tumbleweeds, that's actually not bad. I've done similar drives where I think I've destroyed, I don't know, 100 tumbleweeds and 7 rivers crossed. So really cool, interesting route. I would actually love to recreate this at some point, going through the Mojave Desert, the Sonoran Desert, the Chihuahuan Desert, and yeah, making it all the way to the Rivian Electric Roadhouse. It's even funny having the stools down here for the kids to help the kids feel like they're involved in designing the car. Even though the kids aren't paying for it, Rivian still puts effort into having a nicer back seat for kids or whatever rear occupants you may have. But I think that is fun, having emphasis on the younger generation, getting them interested and inspired while their parents are essentially designing a vehicle. But just cool to see everything kind of lined up here all together, all the different colorways. They do have really, really nice colors, and it's fun to see some of the inspiration behind what each color was. But I still would like to see even more. I think this has a glaring omission of Compass Yellow. Even seeing the little yellow hints right here, that's just my favorite color. It must have not sold well, which is sad to me. So that's pretty much it of the second floor. Let's now hop up to the roof. So jumping out onto the roof, obviously a big space to just hang out, I guess. We have a lot of tables, chairs, actually not a ton of chairs. Maybe they're in storage somewhere. It's possible. But it does seem like a huge area for some nice event space. These swamp cooler fans would be really, really nice, even right now. It's only like 65 degrees and I'm like sweating. I don't know how people live here, but it's really cool if you do live here and love it, because I mean it's clearly a pretty awesome place. But this is a space where they have a lot of events, I guess. So they'll have live music, maybe even private gatherings. I'm not sure if you can book it, but all these things open and close. You got all these fans, which would really help with the heat. And you know, honestly, at night when it cools down a bit, this would be a really cool spot to hang out. And obviously, what a gorgeous panoramic view of everything. It's amazing. And that's honestly where I'll leave you guys. This is a really cool space. I'm enjoying getting out and seeing all the Rivian spaces. Of course, the Laguna one was the first one. Well, actually, no, the Venice Beach one was the first one me and Kyle filmed. But then I went and filmed the Laguna one, which is really cool. That video is, of course, again, linked below. But this space is cool. This space is special. It is very Austin, and it's very in the heart of Austin, which is why I think it gets a lot of foot traffic. Days like today, demo drives going literally all day. They do like upwards of 35, even 40 drives per day on the weekends. And this is one of those spaces that does meet or usually exceed any sort of sales goals. And that's crazy because it's not even like they're pushy salesmen. Like they're just trying to get people into experiencing electric. And even if someone's not really interested in a Rivian, probably because of the price often, they still just want you to get an EV. Not even every Rivian employee has a Rivian. There's a lot of people who enjoy smaller vehicles, but they still believe in the company, and so they still work for Rivian. That honestly would be me. I'm not a big vehicle person, but if they had an R3X, it'd be a different story, and I'd probably have a Rivian. But if I worked for Rivian, I'd probably have a Tesla Roadster, and I'd still sell trucks, because that's just who I am, I guess. Either way, it's really cool to see this and other spaces like it. I'm hoping to visit more. Let me know if you want to see any other specific space tours, and I'll try to get over there and give you a full tour. It's cool to see how each one interacts with the local environment so well. From the merch that's Austin themed, to having literally a part of a trail that is owned by Rivian that connects to the major trail network of Austin along the river. It's all really, 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 really cool. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think of the Rivian Space here in Austin? I'll be working here probably all day because it's just a nice place to hang out and relax, especially that first floor with that table and couch situation. Yeah, big fan. And it's a little too warm out here for me to just hang out here all day. But either way, that's been it. We'll see you guys in another video very soon. Bye from Austin. Would you have your wedding here? That'd be next level, like next level Rivian fandom. Like I'm getting married on the Rivian Space rooftop.